So Ramadan is a spiritual holiday and it lasts a month for Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
So we fast from sunrise to sunset, which is the sunrise is our first prayer and then sunset is our fourth prayer.
I started fasting when I was a little kid. Maybe I think it was like 5 or 6 years old.
Was it hard to do it at that age?
Yeah, it was, but you're not required to do every single day. You could do like some days if you feel like you can do it, you can do it. Or I mean, it's like optional when you're a little kid, but I just chose to do it when I was younger.
I started fasting when I was about 13 to 14 years old. That's usually when Muslim people begin fasting.
When did I start fasting? About when I was 9 or 8.
No, I haven't missed a fast in a few years. I mean, I've never intentionally missed a fast. I've missed a fast a few times. I've gotten sick, but you're like excluded from fasting if you've gotten sick. Then you don't have to fast. Or I think if you're pregnant or you're old, you don't have to fast.
If you do miss a fast, what do you do?
You can either, I mean, if you miss it on purpose, you can either make it up after Ramadan. There's like a week where you still kind of get the same like religious credit. Of like fasting. But if you're like pregnant or you're old, you don't really have to make it up. But you could, if you want to make it up that same week, would also work.
And have I ever missed a fast? Since I started fasting, no. I've done every single fast. It's not that much of a challenge since I am young.
Did I ever miss a fast? Yes, I definitely missed days of fasting when I was younger.
And your family practices the same?
Yeah, my entire family practices it.
I do know other people that practice, like in my area, other Muslims and Jewish people, and like their own culture, they also fast, but like it's a bit different.
One thing I like about Ramadan is that like every like Muslim like comes together. Like if someone like, let's just say someone who newly became Muslim or someone who isn't really like that practicing, like they're still like participating in Ramadan in like some sort of ways, and we all like come together and we're all a community.
So physically, during Ramadan, I lose maybe 10 pounds, 10 to 12 pounds. And my dad, he has like a little high cholesterol levels. So it helps that too. Obviously, still has to take his medication. But it helps. My mom, she has some like knee problems. So she has like inflammation in her knees. She get like the amount of inflammation does go down by a lot. For me, I do also have like a fatty liver. Like I've gotten ultrasound before and after Ramadan. And there's somewhat of a difference with like less fat and also blood tests. It shows up there. Mentally, I especially after Ramadan, like it kind of sets like a schedule for myself, like things you used to not eating, and spiritually, also it gets me closer to God. You know, like it helps me stay strong in my religion.
Physically, fasting made me develop an eating disorder like this year only, and before it hasn't. I started struggling to eat, and mentally and spiritually, like it feels like almost like a juice cleanse. It makes me feel very fresh. And spiritually, it just makes you closer to God. And if you're like struggling, it makes you feel better about yourself.
Honestly, I do enjoy Ramadan because I look at it as a month to like reflect and to just like it's kind of like New Year's for me. It's like where I can like do like my goals and like do like the best that I can to like restrict myself to things that I know aren't like good for me. Like maybe like I try to avoid like going on social media as much because like, and Ramadan's like a good time for me to like start like getting those habits.
So Lent too is marks the 40 days that Jesus was in the desert, and it's the 40 days preceding Easter. It starts with Ash Wednesday. On Ash Wednesday, a person should refrain from meat and also only really eat like one meal. It's kind of vague. It's kind of confusing. Like you're supposed to eat like one meal and then like you can have like smaller meals that don't equal one meal. People always kind of laugh and make fun of it. They're like, what really does that mean? But you're technically supposed to fast. And then also Good Friday, which is the Friday, the day that marks the day that Jesus died, which comes right before Easter, is also a day of fasting, abstaining from meat. And technically every Friday of Lent, one's supposed to abstain from meat. And technically a lot of people during Lent give something up. And a lot of times that does end up being a food item. For me personally, I don't fast. I don't really follow any of the rules regarding food with Lent. But I do try to do something meaningful.
Lent starts on Ash Wednesday, which is 40 days before Easter Sunday. And we get our ashes put on our foreheads. Ashes are the burned palms from the previous year that they use. And then on Ash Wednesday and all Fridays leading up to Easter, we do not eat meat. And that's just another, like, way of just kind of purifying us. And
Well, nowadays it's very different from when I was your age. That's one of the things that changed big time. And when I was your age, my mother and father would not eat any meat, and they had just one meal, a big meal. They could have a little breakfast and a little lunch, but then a big meal at night. And then things changed. I was maybe 20 or 21 when that changed, and so now we've always, forever. When I was a little girl, I never ate meat on Friday. Always had fish, always. And now we still kind of keep that, but more because we got used to it. But now we can eat fish. We can eat meat on Friday. We don't have to have just fish. So that has changed things. And honestly, most people probably don't fast unless they choose to do it. There's not a real requirement for it. And you'll hear people say, what are you giving up for Lent? It's like, well, candy or Netflix or whatever it's going to be. And it used to be very much around food, but now it's not so much. But a lot of people will say, well, I eat lightly in the morning and at noontime, and then I have a big meal at night, but not, go wild kind of thing. And some people will say we're going to have 2 meals a week that will be vegetarian, so we won't have any meat at all.
the reason behind like Lent for like spiritually is to remember Christ's passion and what he did for us. It's just a time for prayer and just a moment of time to reflect on, I guess, your life and again what Christ did for us.
So if you fast for Lent, it can make you sometimes lose weight, or like if you keep fasting for a long time, you will get used to that and stop eating the bad foods and the foods that will help you lose weight.
Yes, I have a very complicated relationship with the Catholic Church because I very much love the Catholic Church. I love teaching at a Catholic school. There's so much I love about the tradition. There's also a lot that I critique about the tradition. The exclusion of women, some of the ways that fasting has been described or portrayed. Even now, like the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops still says like you need, like, you can't take an exemption lightly. And I think that's scary for a lot of people. I also, I'm really glad that I've had a lot of the experiences I've had, both I'd say positive and negative with the Catholic Church, because I think it's shaped me into being a stronger professor and person.
I think it's more of a spirit. It affects me physically, but I think it should. I mean, as I said, we always gave up something.
Yeah.
And it was almost always candy. When you're, until I was probably in the convent, that's what it was. So you didn't have any candy. And I don't think it physically, nutrition-wise, depleted my energy. But I really minded that because I have a real sweet tooth. And spiritually, you knew you were doing something to make yourself a little bit more aware of the world around you and what you had, and then discipline. It's a discipline, really.